Hi everyone. Just gonna add some light. There we go. Hi everyone. This is the Listen to L Boogie Speaks 2 show. How you guys doing? I'm live. Let's jump right into what we're gonna talk about today. Man, they is straight Eric Adams is first of all, let me say this about him. He's controlled what you call control opposition. Opposition. Meaning that he came out like, I need help and Biden won't help me, the government won't help. But what you notice he hasn't done is he hasn't stopped giving the illegal migrants freebies, and he hasn't come up with the idea saying that maybe we shouldn't take any more illegal migrants. He hasn't done that. But what he has done is migrants free lunch credit cards, letting letters to basically he's giving migrants free $1,000 per month debit cards to buy whatever they need, food and maybe supplies for their kids or whatever. And I'm going to read you the article. This one is by the New York Times. What better newspaper to get the information from? Because I read it and they are very upset about what the mayor is doing. First of all, let me do this. Let me put my. All right, let's do it. All right, guys. Now, Mayor Adams is giving prepaid cards to illegal immigrants. All the taxpayers in New York should be annoyed. Yes, even the liberals. There are homeless Americans on the streets of New York. These legal Americans living on the streets, yet they receive nothing from the city because of the policies of the liberal left. Our own citizens are hung out to dry once again. Adams plans to give out $53 million in prepaid credit cards to illegal migrants, is like former Mayor de Blasio plans to give $1 billion on mental illness through Thrive NYC. Wow, this plan is just a splash fund for Adams' cronies, different mayors, but the same corruption. Apparently, the migrants at the Roosevelt Hotel do not like the food they're being given, and so the city is rolling out the new prepaid debit cards. New York says it can justify its new program. It calculated both savings and lower cost as a result of the prepaid cards. But did the city calculate how many more additional migrants the program will attract to New York and how much that will cost the city? The word is probably out already. Come to New York and you can receive $1,000 a month. This is crazy. Add to that all the other amenities, and our city has virtually become a piñata for migrants. Meanwhile, there are American seniors eating one meal a day and cutting their medications in half because their rent is too high. As long as a longtime resident, and it's I quote, I am now ashamed to say that I am a New Yorker. The city plans to give ungrateful migrants free $1,000 prepaid credit cards. Free to them, but not free to the taxpayers who have to pay for them, who have to pick up the tab. This is crazy, man. And to boot, our mayor is ready to play the race card when criticized for his open arm welcoming of law breaking migrants. Okay, that's why I call him controlled opposition. If you notice, a lot of these mayors and these DAs, when they get in trouble, they want to use the race card. But they won't use a race card to represent their constituents, specifically their black ones. That being said, I'll keep on with this story. Not to worry, New Yorkers will just vote him back in. We get what we vote for. And this is a guy named Joseph Vellante. That was his comments. And that's that. Man. So the word is out because they communicate and call back home wherever they to their home country. And they look, man, shoot, man, we in the hotel, we chilling, playing PlayStation, they feeding us. Now they're giving us $1,000 prepaid debit cards. We can go to the bodega, we can buy what we want, and we can do what we want. They even have cars. This is ridiculous. But I will say this may be coming to a city near you. Because Atlanta, be on the lookout. Because they're not putting it in the news, but you still have migrants coming to the city of Atlanta every day. I gave you this information before, but in the article that I read, they were sure to not give the number of migrants coming to Atlanta daily. They just said it was going up. They made sure not to give a number. Okay, and our next bit of news, you got clown Alvin Bragg, the district attorney of Manhattan, who got thrown under the bus by New York's governor for not prosecuting the illegal migrants that jumped on and kicked and beat two New York police officers. Now, I will say this before I get into this story or news. Okay. Okay. I saw the video of the police officers being beat by the illegal migrants. But what I did notice in the videos is that they didn't pull their weapons. They didn't pull one of their batons. And when they were being interviewed, they didn't say that they were in fear of their life or their lives. Okay, so they were being, let's say, for instance, I'll say this: no more Americans. You jump on a police officer, they're going to deal with you all the way up until death. And I will say this: Black New York City citizens have been killed for less. You know, they choked Eric Garner out. He was just standing on the corner selling cigarettes, and they choked him to death. But these migrants fly at the mouth, defiant, jumped on the police, kicking them and whatnot, and it's all on video. Now they're really embarrassed about this. Okay, so let me pull this up about Alvin Bragg. Okay, he was pretty upset after the New York's okay, this came out 4 hours ago. You know what happened before? Alvin Bragg, quote, I won't say quote, but here's what he did do. He prosecuted Jonathan Majors for basically running from a white woman, but he wouldn't charge these migrants so at least bail could be set for kicking and beating two New York City police officers on video. So what does that make him? What a lot of these other mayors are buck dancing Negroes. Yeah, I said it. All right, let's get on with this. And this is out. Just came out 4 hours ago. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg expected to present more evidence on suspects to grand jury in New York PD Times Square attack. One of the men accused of assaulting two members of the New York Police Department in Times Square is expected to be back in court on Tuesday. Police believe Henry Berto is one of 13 migrants that were involved in the attack back on January 27th. The 24-year-old is only one suspect who was held on bail of $15,000 cash. Okay. Late Thursday, Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg plans to present more evidence to the grand jury that could lead to an indictment for him and additional suspects in the case. All right. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg working to present evidence against 6 suspects accused of attacking New York police officers in Times Square. Bragg said the suspect seen on the video wearing yellow and fighting with officers as they tried to apprehend him is Berto. And he ain't really sure. But anyway, for most for almost a week, he has been held on cash bail for the Times Square assault. So they did have to go back and get him when a lot of his other cohorts or conspirators or whatever you might want to call them, they bounced and were caught in Arizona. 5 others were charged in the Times Square attack, have been released, and most of them, the police say, boarded buses to Mexico. Kathy Hochul on Thursday expressed disappointment that they were released on their own reconnaissance. Now I'm gonna stop here before I let you know what she said. Okay, this right here made Alvin Bragg highly upset. I saw a video of him storming out of the DA's office or out of court in New York, very upset because I believe basically he only thing he was doing was following orders. He was following orders, and she acted like she didn't even know him. She basically threw him under the bus because she didn't want this big issue to come back on her. So she made him the sacrificial lamb, and that's what I don't feel sorry for these Negroes because they know what they get into. They know when time comes when they really need Massa ain't gonna be there for them. Anyhow, and I quote, that was an inherent act, and anyone who thinks they should have been let loose, I have a big disagreement with. Hochul said one of the MSNBC programs on Morning Joe, a member of them, we think, went on a bus. They were freed because no bail was posted. I worked hard to change the bail laws in New York State. Those crimes were bail eligible. Hochul struck a much different tone than Mayor Eric Adams, who on Monday backed up the DA's decision not to bail. Okay, she backed him up. You can easily bring someone to justice, but you have to complete the task of making sure the evidence is right so they can be held accountable for their actions. That was Mayor Adams taking up for DA Alvin Bragg. So he taking up for his I ain't gonna say what I really want to say. Anyhow, New York City Police Department Chief Detective Joseph Kinney said the investigation was ongoing. We believe some of the people that participated in that may have gang ties to Venezuela. That's based on social media, tattoos, and statements made while in custody, Kinney said. Immigrant advocacy groups have been calling on NYPD to release body camera video from the assault. For what? I mean, they showed everybody that they was getting foot and elbow, shoe sole, and everything else put on them. You know, I was just amazed. I was looking, I'm like, okay, I know eventually, and they was like seemed like they was trying to go after their weapons, taser or sidearm or whatever. And I'm looking at the thing like, so these guys aren't in fear of their lives. They're not in fear of their lives because they took that ass whooping from them jokers. Now it could have been one black man walking down the street, and we all know one man walking down the street minding his own business and not causing a problem or anything, and he could very well end up dead. So I don't really have no sympathy for them like that. At any rate, New York Police Department has not said if it will release body camera footage. The next court date for other suspects arrested is scheduled for February the 20th. Now I'm gonna look on here, see can I find where they caught the clowns in Arizona for you guys. All right. Okay. Here we go, right here. Migrants arrested by ICE agents in Phoenix, Arizona might be suspects. Is it might be suspects in New York City's cop beating who who fled New York, sources say. So they're not even sure if they have the right people. It's funny. You let these people in this country, you put them up, you treat them like kings and queens because you have an ulterior motive, and y'all catching straight hell. You getting exactly what you deserve because they don't have no respect. They were coming out of the courtroom throwing up their middle fingers and cursing the media out and everything like they haven't done anything wrong because this is how they behave in their own countries. This is what happened when you bring people over here and circumvent the proper process of becoming an asylum seeker. When you just open the floodgates and you let people in here in droves, this is what you get. And it's not over because we do not know what kind of terrorist has come across the border. Now, widely publicized images of 3 handcuffed migrants sitting in the Arizona dirt were not to be members of a crew who beat up 2 NYPD cops in Times Square last month, law enforcement sources tell the Post. Those 4 suspects were apparently on the lam. David, it was hidden names. Darwin Andres Gomez is if that is his real name. Kelvin Savada Ochoa, Wilson Juarez, Yorman Veratron are believed by New York authorities to have connected a church affiliated nonprofit and to help them flee the city were on their way to California. It is not clear who the men in the photo are, but see, they don't even know who they are. But law enforcement sources told the Post that they're definitely not the state hopping. They're not the state hopping crooks authorities are looking for on the West Coast. So it's not even a. Oh, let me read. Let me make sure before I start clowning. They just had similar sounding names and were arrested on immigration warrants, sources said. So it's not even them. What? That means the search will continue for the 4 men who were suspected of having hopped on a bus last Wednesday after they were freed without bail in the January 28th attack in Midtown, according to law enforcement sources. So this is breaking news because this came out about 4 hours ago. So they had the wrong jokers. They was thinking that they just picked 4 guys and arrested them. They don't even know who these fools are, man. I don't have no sympathy, none. John Miller, New York Police Department, former Deputy Commissioner of Intelligence and Counterterrorism, said last week the group likely boarded the bus heading to this dude. Ain't no such thing as Calexico, Mexico. Proofread, my brother. Anyhow, whoever you are. A California city near, I don't know, it might be Calexico. Wait, whatever. Calexico, a California city near the Mexico border by way of St. Louis, Missouri. Police have nothing police have nothing to arrest them on the assumption which they have to operate on that they'll be back for their court dates. So now they don't know where they are, and basically they're hoping that they'll be back for their court dates. Man, them jokers might be already back in Mexico as far as they know. And when they got to the border, they were not detained. If they got to the border and said, "Look, we want to go home," you could best believe them border agents down there opened it up and said, "Yes, get out," and they gladly let them go. They gladly let them go. They probably like, "We want to go home." They're like, "Shit, have at it. Get the hell on out of here." The former New York the police department official had little faith the suspects would return to the Big Apple for their March 4th court dates, as they each face second-degree assault on police officer, a bail eligible offense. So, man, they're not coming back. The chances of that happening when four people get on a bus with false names and head for the city that literally you can cross the street into the Mexico border is probably unlikely. Just like I said, if the men don't show up to their scheduled court day, warrants can then be issued for their arrest. Wow. Three other men were arrested for the attack. One was ordered held bail for $15,000 cash and or $50,000 bond. Okay. After prosecutors argued he could be identified in the footage of the assault. But I bet you he don't give his real name. He had a distinct tattoos. That's how they was able to identify him. Wow. The high profile case uh has sparked debate over the constitutes of bail eligible offenses and has prompted calls for the suspect's deportation. Now, bail don't have shit to do with bail. If they in this country and you can't identify who they are, they don't have a social security number or address or anything, and it's a bunch of them and they all look alike. Yeah, I said it. And they mostly all look alike, and you can't identify them and say and point and say, yeah, that's him. Then when they commit a crime, kick them out. I don't know what the hell. They kick them out. But I guess that would defeat the purpose. So you would rather keep criminals that's basically ravaging the city of New York, Manhattan, and other places in New York, committing all kind of crimes, but you don't want to kick them out? Man, y'all need to handle y'all business in November. November election, y'all need to handle y'all business in New York and every other so-called sanctuary city. I don't even want to read about that bail nonsense. I don't even want to bore y'all with that. It says, anytime there is an assault on a police officer, which is very serious offense, bail should be sought. But the district dum-dum, okay, sorry. She told, let me go back. I'm going to go back here. Governor Kathy Hochul, this is where she threw Alvin Bragg under the bus. Governor Kathy Hochul said she believed the accused attackers should have been held behind bars when asked about the bail issue on Friday. And this is why Alvin Bragg was so pissed, because she ain't back him up. She threw him under the bus. Anytime there is an assault on a police officer, which is a very serious offense, bail should be sought, she told reporters after the District Attorneys Association of the state of New York winter conference, which she was in the press conference. Other mayors of New York were standing behind her, but Alvin Bragg wasn't, because she had just thrown his ass under the bus. A daily A day earlier, Democratic governor said the suspects should be deported, and they should. Get them all and send them back, Hochul told reporters. You don't touch our police officers. Now all of a sudden she wanted to. Now if it had to be other people, regular New York citizens, which they are totally ignoring, it had to been another. It hadn't been a regular citizen beat down. I'm quite sure she wouldn't be talking about deporting anybody. Don't You don't touch anyone. Oh, you don't touch anyone, but it does depend on who you touch. And that's all I have to say about that. That's the end of that. Man, these folks here. But Mayor Eric Adams talking all this big talk about he need the government to do this and he need the government to do that. That's him trying to show that he's not the puppet he really is. Because if you notice, it ain't about what people say; it's about what people do. And even though is on the investigation by the FBI, he's doing a hell of a good job to get back into the good graces of the Biden administration. That being said, I'm going to sign off. I don't want to be on here too long. Got to take care of a couple of things. Got some studying to do. But at any rate, y'all be good to each other. Try to love one another. I know it's hard. Like and subscribe to my channel, the L Boogie Speaks 2 show. I've noticed a uptick in my subscribers, and I appreciate each and every one of you that has recently subscribed to my channel. If you have anything you would like me to cover, or you have some news that you would like to present to me, you can email me at lboogiespeaks2 at gmail.com. It's lboogiespeaks2 at gmail.com. Email me on anything. If you just want to say hi, if you want to, praise or criticism or whatever reason you want to email me, you're more than welcome. This is L Boogie, and I'll see you guys, as I always say, the next time God leaves his footprints in the sky. Holla at you soon. Peace.